His name was Marcus, 26 years old, $900 in his bank account, a job he didn't hate, didn't love, just had, and an apartment he paid $1,400 a month for, month after month after month, building equity for a man he had never met. Today, Marcus owns 61 properties. His portfolio generates $2.3 million a year. He wakes up without an alarm. He coaches his daughter's soccer team on Thursdays. He hasn't answered to a boss in over a decade. He didn't come from money. Nobody handed him anything. He just made decisions that most people around him were too scared to make. This is every single one of those decisions, every level, every number, every year, and every moment where he almost stopped, but didn't. Year 1, age 26. Marcus had been renting for 4 years. 4 years, 48 months, $67,200. Paid to a landlord. Gone. No equity. No ownership. Nothing to show for it. He made $52,000 a year, drove a paid-off car, wasn't reckless, and yet every single month he'd open his banking app in India tour, and the number made no sense. He was doing everything right and going nowhere. It felt like carrying water in his hands. No matter how carefully he moved, he kept losing it. The night everything changed wasn't dramatic. It was a Tuesday. He opened a letter from his landlord. Rent going up, $1,550, starting next month, and something in him just stopped. He grabbed a piece of paper, wrote down $1,400 a month, multiplied it by 12, then by 4, then by 30. He sat there staring at a number that represented his entire adult life, spent paying for something he would never own, and right there, at a kitchen table that wasn't his, he decided not next year, not when he felt ready, now, year 1 to 2, age 26 to 27. The next 8 months, Marcus did 2 things. He saved like his life depended on it, and he learned not from gurus, not from highlight reels, the real version, carrying costs, vacancy rates. What happens when a roof fails 90 days after you close? By month 8, he had $14,000 saved. With an FHA loan, 3.5% down, it was enough. He bought a house for $218,000. Working class neighborhood, 20 minutes outside the city. Nothing fancy. Mortgage, $1,340 a month, which was, and he actually laughed when he realized this, $110 less than his rent for a house he owned. The night he got the keys, there was no furniture, just him, a flashlight, and the silence of a space that was finally his. He stood in that empty room and thought, I did it. The thing most people talk about and never do. I did it. Year 2, age 27. The house had a basement. Finished. Separate entrance. Its own bathroom. Marcus stopped looking at it like a storage room and started looking at it like a unit. $2,200. Paint. A small kitchenette. A lock on the door. Listed it for $650 a month. Rented in 4 days. Mortgage was $1,340. Tenant covered $650 of it. Marcus's out-of-pocket $690 a month for a house he owned. But here's what the numbers don't show. The moment someone else started paying part of his mortgage, something shifted that didn't shift back. He stopped thinking like a resident. He started thinking like an investor. Those two people don't see the same world. They drive down the same street and notice completely different things. That tenant didn't just save Marcus money. That tenant rewired his brain. Year 3, age 28, $22,000 in savings, $18,000 in equity from the first house. He pulled the equity with a HELOC, bought property 2, $185,000, 3-bedroom, 6 blocks from a hospital, stable tenants, consistent demand, mortgage on the rental, $1,190. He rented it for $1,650. After taxes, insurance, and a maintenance reserve, he cleared $310 a month. $310. I know what you're thinking. That's nothing. But here's what you're missing. That $310 showed up on the 3rd of the month, while Marcus was stuck in a meeting he didn't want to be in, while he was sitting in traffic on a Thursday afternoon, while he was living his normal life. The money moved, and he did nothing to make it move. If you've never experienced that before, it's almost impossible to explain what it does to you. Then, month 4 happened. 9 p.m., Thursday night. Tenant calls, furnace making a noise, $1,400 bill the next morning. Marcus paid it, didn't panic, because he had a reserve account. He had prepared for exactly this moment. Real estate had just shown him its real face, not the Instagram version, the actual version. And honestly, he respected it more for it. Year 4 to 5, age 29 to 30. 2 more properties, a duplex for $24,000. Both units rented, $620 a month net. A single family near a university, $199,000, $440 a month net. Total across all 4 properties, $1,370 a month, $16,440 a year. He was still working his job, still making $58,000 a year, but the job felt different now. The desperation was gone, because losing it, the thing that used to keep him up at night, wouldn't destroy him anymore. It would just be an inconvenience. You don't understand what that shift feels like until you feel it. The portfolio wasn't just making money, it was making a different version of Marcus. Then he made his first real mistake. A tenant who showed warning signs during screening that Marcus talked himself out of seeing. 6 months in, stopped paying. Eviction took 4 months, cost him $6,200. He wrote every detail down. Fixed the screening process. Never made that exact mistake again. The tuition was expensive. The education was permanent. Year 6, age 31, 8 properties. Monthly cash flow, $3,400. Annual, $40,800. Portfolio value, $1.6 million. And before he did anything dramatic, he built the thing most people forget. 6 months of reserves across every property, a property manager on 6 of the 8 units, a bookkeeper, an attorney on retainer, infrastructure, before he needed it. Then he handed in his resignation. His manager asked if he was sure. He said yes, walked to his car, sat in the parking lot for 11 minutes, and drove home. Now, I want to be real with you about what came next, because every video makes this moment look like a celebration. It wasn't. 2 vacancies at the same time, a major repair when reserves were thin. The silence of working alone felt less like freedom and more like floating in open water. He had traded the cage for the open sky, and the open sky had weather, but the foundation held. By month 7, cash flow hit $4,800 a month. He found a distressed seller who needed out fast, bought the property at $141,000. It appraised at $178,000. 3 months later, that gap wasn't luck. That was 6 years of learning to see what other people were too scared to see. Year 7 to 9, age 32 to 34. Marcus hit a ceiling, not financial, mental. 11 addresses, 11 roofs, 11 HVAC systems, 11 separate problems that could arrive. On any given morning, completely independent of each other. Then a broker called. 12-unit apartment building, $780,000. Net operating income, $84,000 a year. Cap rate just over 10%. 1 building, 1 roof, 1 address, generating more than his entire single-family portfolio. More income, less complexity. The math wasn't just better. It was a completely different kind of math. And once you see that, single family never looks the same again. Deal closed in 47 days. Net cash flow from that 1 building, $5,200 a month. Total portfolio, $9,100 a month. Marcus was 34 years old, year 10 to 14, age 35 to 39. Over the next 5 years, Marcus did something most investors never do. He stopped trying to do everything himself an acquisitions manager, a formal property management contract on 31 units, a CPA who worked exclusively with real estate investors. By 39, 4 multifamily buildings, 47 units, 6 single families, 2 commercial strips, total value $8.4 million, net cash flow after every expense, every fee, every reserve, $218,000 a year. From decisions that started with $900, but here's the number that meant the most to Marcus. Not the 218, the 11. 11 hours a week he spent working in the business. The systems ran, the managers managed, the money moved. And Marcus had the one thing no income number can just go out and buy. Time. Real, unscheduled, unaccounted for time. That belonged entirely to him. Year 15 to 20, age 40 to 45. His portfolio crossed $100 million. 61 properties. 312 units. Annual net cash flow. $2.3 million a year. 9 people on his team. None of them called him unless the decision could only come from him, which happened, on average, twice a week. His CPA ran cost segregation studies, generating $2.1 million in paper losses, legally slashing his tax bill to a number that would make most people in his bracket feel sick. 1,031 exchanges over the previous decade. More than $3 million kept inside the portfolio. Compounding, instead of going to the government. And here's what nobody tells you about this level. It's quiet, shockingly quiet. No hustle, no urgency, no chaos. The machine runs whether Marcus is watching or not. Real estate stopped being something he does. It became something he is. His name is on buildings. His kids won't start at level 1. They'll start at level 6. The wealth doesn't just continue. It accelerates. Marcus is 45 years old. Wakes up without an alarm. Makes breakfast with his kids every morning. He started with $900, a Tuesday night, a rent increase letter, and a piece of paper with some numbers on it. That made him too angry to sit still. Here's what I know you're about to do. You're about to find the part of Marcus's story. That doesn't apply to you. The lucky break. The thing he had that you don't. The one detail that makes his path different from yours. And you'll use it to let yourself off the hook. I know, because it's what everyone does. But here's the truth. Marcus didn't have connections. He had a logistics job and a savings account that never grew fast enough. He didn't have perfect timing. He didn't have a safety net. He built one. Slowly, imperfectly, from nothing. The only thing that separated Marcus from the person who stays at level 1 forever was that he refused to let the fear of starting feel bigger than the pain of staying still. That's it. 20 years, 9 levels, $100 million. Still just that. In a few seconds, you're going to close this video, and life is going to hand you exactly what it always does. A reason to wait. A reason the timing's off. A reason next year makes more sense. Marcus had every single one of those reasons. Sitting on that kitchen table the night he did the math. He wrote them down right there on the same piece of paper as the numbers. And then he decided which one was going to win. The only question this video has ever really been asking is what you're going to do in the next 10 minutes. Because that's where every $100 million story starts. Not with a property, not with perfect timing, not with money you don't have yet, with a decision, just like the one Marcus made on a Tuesday night at a kitchen table that wasn't even his.